Mix is 47, tone is 8, level is 100, and low cut is 60. And you know, the low cut is going to definitely make a difference in the sound on that detune. Got it to set to 800 there, and then I'm gonna turn it off. So as you can see, just adding these two, adding this to your sound, leave that low cut around 60, uh, just to give like a pure low end to it, and then anything above 60 is gonna add that detuned sound to it. So add that in, or you can use something like a phaser. I like this warp phaser a lot. Or you can swap that out for the OC-5. So just adding that just adds so much to your sound. It just adds so much. Give me a little more volume there. And last but not least, you can, on top of all that, you can go ahead and add a Moog filter or M filter on here, or any filter. I'm gonna give you a few examples. This one is available on the MS-60B. It's the M filter frequency set to 56. Sense is set to 6. Resonance is set to 8. Type is set to low pass filter. Character is set to 2-pole. Velocity is slow. And the balance is 69 and 85 on the level. So just beautiful. Um, Poly Blue. Right off the back, you can see how spongy and synthy and pillowy that joint is. That's why I love this Poly Blue for the synth stuff. On mono mode, is you really don't need. Yeah, that's the one to go with for the synth stuff. I like that over the OC2. I'm just sorry. Me personally, I like that sound a little more. Um, like I said, I use my OC-5 for my chordal stuff. You know, as you can see, I have a Hog 2 over here. So, you know, it's right, what is it, right here, somewhere over here. Yep, one of the Hog 2, which has a ton of different, you mean, that thing's so flexible and can do so much, but it can't do that chordal thing where the lower octave is only affecting the lowest notes that you want it to, and you can have a range for it. It doesn't have that ability, neither does the Poly Blue. So if you need that ability, you got to go with the OC-5. Or OC-3, I believe, had that ability as well, but you didn't have an octave up. With this joint, with the Poly Blue, for the synth sounds, like I said, it's just bananas. You can get an OC-5 and get it to, you know, give you a good synth sound, you know, as well. But if you want that real fat bottom, you know, I do like the OC2 and all that stuff, but it's if you want that real blue, it sounds so blue and synthy. Like I love the way it sounds. So that with this setup is crazy. You know, you take a Poly Blue and an MXR, I mean a Poly Blue and a MS60B, and you got a whole synth rig right there. Whole synth rig just sounding fire and just, you know, here's what it sounds like without the preamp and the extra sauce on there. Mind you, if you're only using these three effects on the MS60B, you can easily swap out one of these modulations. So, you know, instead of having that phaser or the detune, you can swap that out for an amp model and put a SVT in there, or, you know, use the Eden amp or something in there. The Gallian Kruger amp model in there, and also shape the sound the same way I was doing with the SGT, you know. And you know, just turn the cab models off. I don't like the cab models on there, the simulations on the MS60B. Can't win them all, but um, yeah, you run that joint like that, and bam, you got your nice little synth rig, either pedal. You know, let's see, instead of that M filter, you know, say you taking just, and I would recommend getting a multi effects unit, you know, one way or another, especially something like from the Zoom lineups, because they're very versatile, especially this MS60B lineup. I don't know what the new one gonna have on it, but this one, the original ones, has like the bit crusher and all that stuff on there. It's worth still getting the old one if the new one's not gonna have, you know, all these types of modulation and all the stuff that I've been able to put on my MS60B and MS50G. It still might be worth getting the older one, and they're going on sale too. So, um, yeah, but let's see what we got on here. Let's put this on clean sim. So I'm going to run the bit crusher on MS60B, right? So I have some texture to grab for this filter to grab on too. I'm gonna run the MXR bass envelope filter. I'm gonna run the Poly Blue into the bit crusher on the MS60B, and then run that into this analog bass filter by MXR up here, and then run that into the Mojo roller on the MS-50G, which is just a, vibrato that kicks in, that has a pre-delay to it. So it kicks in after I play a note, and doesn't just immediately have vibrato on it. So it allows me to use it like a, kind of got how guys will use a pitch bend on a, or a mod wheel on the keyboard. It's like an actual automated version of that. After a certain amount of time, I like my vibrato to sound anyway. So it's like I would be doing that on the keyboard anyway, but on the shorter notes, I don't need it. So now I don't have to sit there and do that with my foot or something else. The Mojo roller on the MS-50G will do it for me. So here we go. And it's going to track better than a lot of the synth pedals out there. So, something like this is like a really versatile setup. That's why I said that Mojo roller just adds so much, along with the filter as well. The filter adds a ton because it's nice, creamy. That's just a killing setup right there. Um, pretty much you could really just take a Poly Blue, two of these Zoom MS multi stomps, and a MX, and really just those two, and then you really just have. Even if I didn't have that filter, I can pick an emulation of that filter. They have like a MX. Is that the MXR one on it? Oh, you got like the Qtron over here. So So you just start adding stuff to these sounds, You can also choose to use like 2 octaves up on the Poly Blue, and then that's what I'm saying. This is not really I have individual reviews of these pedals, but I'm kind of just going through things, extra tips and tricks, and so you guys have like a direct comparison between the two. Even with my solo sound, let's skip to this real quick because that's a good. I'm gonna do a separate bass synth video, and you guys can see all that stuff. But I'm gonna skip to polyphonic mode on the Poly Blue, and I'm gonna do an octave up and put that around 10 or 11, and